everyone, it's Theresa here of TNT Scrap Explosions, and today I wanted to share with you a simple tutorial on how to print and cut in your Silhouette software. Okay, so I'm in the Silhouette software, and you're going to want to open up your folder or your document. So I have this one already open, and what I'm going to walk you through is how to trace and then print and cut these elements. So if your Silhouette is connected to your printer, once you have it opened, you can send it directly to your printer. You're going to just go to File, Print, or hit the Print button, and it will bring up your print screen, and you select your printer and your settings, however you want to print it. So you can print this directly from the Silhouette. If you have the newest one, the Silhouette 3, you can do it wirelessly. I have mine actually wired to my computer just to make it easier. Otherwise, you have to open it in your PDF viewer or in Photoshop and print it from there, and then open it in Silhouette, which is the other way you can do it. And so once you have it printed out, what you're going to want to do is trace everything so that you can then send it to your Silhouette and have it cut. So we went into the trace menu here, and we're going to select trace area, and I'm going to just draw a box around all of my elements here. Okay, and you'll notice that I have the registration marks are turned on, so I know that my elements fit in the box, right? And you want to do that before you print. And then now I have drawn my box around all of the elements, and you can see that it doesn't look the way we want it to cut right now. So we're going to just walk through and how to make it cut what we really want it to cut here. And you kind of have to play around with this. I've learned that you can click the high pass filter off and then play around with the low pass filter, threshold, and sometimes the scale. So I'm going to show you what each one of these does. If you click on low pass filter and then you start to increase this value, it doesn't really do anything on this layout. Well, wait a minute, I need to give it time. For some reason my computer has just started slowing down. So yeah, low pass filter is not going to help us. Try threshold, and that starts to fill in. Threshold is the one I use most. It will fill in more of the elements that you're wanting, and it will fill in the whole page if you go too far. Now I am noticing one thing, that I have a little bit of overlap here. These gray boxes tell us where the Silhouette will not cut, and normally I would worry about that, and I would just shrink that down a little bit and reprint it, or pay a little closer attention to it before I print it. But I already have this sheet printed out, so I'm just going to let it go for now. And that little piece is like, really, I'm not going to worry about it. I'll just hand cut it if I need to, or whatever. That's fine. I don't think that is big enough to worry. If most of your element is here, then you're going to want to definitely reprint it and adjust that size a little bit. But sometimes you just say, it's okay, it's good enough, right? And okay, so now I have the threshold. I've played around with that a little bit, and it's getting closer to what we want. You can see here what the scale will do. It sort of changes some of those, and then it gets more pixelated. So I don't do a lot with the scale. Mostly what I work with is the threshold, and then I'm going to tell it to trace the outer edge of the image. And so I'm just going to click on that, and that will give us our nice, pretty red borders around each of our elements. Now, you might want space around some of these. And if you want space around some of these, then you need to use the offset feature. I'll do another tutorial and share with you how we do offset. But today I'm just working with the trace function. And so once we have our pretty red borders around everything, I'm going to just click on the images that we printed out, and I'm going to move it over here, and I'm going to just check to see how these look. And sometimes you might need to go in and clean these up. And let's see, I'm going to zoom in here a little bit and see, for the most part, everything looks pretty good. Now, if you need to clean up some of the lines might be overlapping, or your rectangles might look off. And so let me share with you real quick, if you need to clean it up, how you can do that. And so we're going to go to Object. Actually, we're going to double click on what we have, right? And you can see that like all these little dots come up. You can go in and edit these dots and make it like what you want it. If you want to do it that way, I recommend keeping this image on top of it so you can see where your lines need to be. And actually, I think I will go ahead and move that back. So let me back up here. And I live for the undo button, right? So let's zoom in here. Let's say we want to square out this tab a little bit. And so I'm going to just zoom in here where I can see what I'm doing. And then double click on that. Okay? And sometimes what you might have to do, because the silhouette is going to recognize all of this traced image. It's going to recognize all of it as one item. Let me undo that. And so if it's recognizing everything all as one item, you're going to need to release the compound path. And so we're going to click on that. And then you'll notice that it brings up these little boxes around all of your things. Whoops. That now we can edit those dots. And so here, if you're wondering where this function is, over here on the left-hand side, you'll see all of your little buttons, and this is the edit point button. And so if you go in here, it will let you make changes to all of these little points. And so when you click on one of the points, you see it highlights it in red, and then you have options over here on the right-hand side. You have options to delete a point, to break the path. That means if you want to stop this line right here, you can break that path. If you want to make a corner, you can use that function. Smooth, make flat, make curve, and simplify. All of these could use simplifying, but it's okay for what we're doing here. What I want to do is just make a corner. And so I think what I'm going to do is delete a couple of these points here. Maybe not that one. And when you start clicking on delete the point, it will take you around the image, so you have to see what direction it's taking you. So it's going in a clockwise direction. I'm going to, let's see how it does with this one, with this little portion of the line right here. Okay, it's not really. All right, so it gives you the flexibility here to build your corner. What has happened is that all of these the lines in between all of these points are curved, and so they have, and when you tell it, okay, make this segment a curve, right, then it adds this little thing that rotates. I don't know what that's called. I guess I should know what that's called if I'm going to do tutorials. So let's do undo, because we don't want that to actually be a curve, right? So we're going to start making some of these lines flat so that it will actually recognize the curve as a curve. And I think what I'm going to do is delete these points across the bottom so that we actually have a straight line. Now, this tab is actually curved itself. So I don't know that straightening or making this corner really is going to be the right look for this tab, but at least you'll know sort of how to edit these points so that you can then make changes as you want to. I'm going to delete that point. And so now we have these nice square corners. So hopefully that helps you sort of know how to clean up your lines a little bit. That's certainly one way. There's other ways that you can do it as well. This is probably the way that I use the most, and you're probably thinking, really, you go in there and edit these individual little points? There's something actually kind of fun about editing these little points, so maybe I'm just weird that way. I don't know, but I'm just going to back out of all of this so that I have a rounded tab here. I think that's probably good enough. Let me just check some of the other things, some of the other items. This one looks like it's overlapping a little bit, so I'm going to click on that and bring that out a little bit so that it doesn't cut off part of the color of this border here. This is also where you can add a little bit of white space around it if you want to. But again, I recommend the offset function if you want to leave some space. I did want to check on these and make sure that it just did ovals. Yes, it did. And then this little item here, I think that this probably lends itself more to being an oval, particularly if I'm going to print this on vellum, which is what I've actually done. So I'm going to show you how to just grab one of these other ovals, and it should allow me, not in the point editing, but in the move screen, it should allow me to grab this oval, and then I'm going to copy it and paste it. And so this way I have, whoops, not that. This way I have another oval, not that either. See if I can click on that. There we go. This way I have another oval to sort of match, and then I'm just going to edit it a little bit so that it fits the space, or fits the garland wreath. I love this element, and I really can't wait to see what it's going to look like cut out. Now, I don't want this green part to be cut now, so what am I going to do about that? I'm going to just go into the move window, select it, and hit delete. And now you have your oval with this pretty garland inside. Okay? I also can see that there's a line right here that's a little bit overlapped. So I'm going to go back in my point editing and bring that down just a little bit. And of course you can set this as close or as far away as you want. It's a personal thing. So, and you really could spend like hours adjusting these little points. So like, don't obsess over it. Just say, you know, it's good enough. It'll look great when they're printed out. So I think that this is ready. And now you can leave that there or you can delete it. I usually like to delete it. But then when you close it, don't save your changes. So I'm going to delete that, and now it is ready to be sent to the silhouette. So I'm going to show you how I do that. When you click on this far right button here, it tells us that it's connected to the Cameo and that it's ready to go. Now, my Cameo is connected to my computer via wire as well. If your Cameo is not, or your silhouette is not connected to your wire, then your process for this is probably something like save to SD card or save to however you get it to your silhouette. For me, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to pause for a second and grab it off the printer and load it into the silhouette, and then we'll continue this portion. Okay, so I have this printed out on my vellum, and then I have it loaded into my silhouette, and it's ready to be cut. The reason that I wanted to switch over to manually film is because printing on vellum presents a special challenge. And this is one of the reasons why I wanted to print this and cut it for you on vellum. Because if you are cutting your elements on cardstock, you probably won't have this problem. But what's going to end up happening is when I tell the Silhouette software to start cutting, it's going to try to register, and it's going to try to register these registration marks, right? And there's a sensor up under here that is looking for that little black square. If you can see that little black square right there, there's a sensor underneath that white part on the blade that is looking for that little square. And when you print on vellum, it does not want to find that little black square. So we're going to have to tell it manually, and that's called registering manually on the Silhouette software. So let me go do that, and then I'm going to be going back and forth here and showing you what I'm doing to help it recognize that little black square. Okay? Okay. Okay. So now we have everything traced, and we are ready to send it to the Cameo. We have the document on the cutting mat and loaded into the machine. So when I click start here, it's going to try to register, and it's going to tell you that the registration failed. So we're going to click retry manually. And what it gives you is these up and down arrows. And if I click on any of these arrows, I'm going to tell it to feed the document through the Silhouette, and I'm going to try to line up that little black square with the tip of the cutting tool. So you're just going to move it back and forth until it's pretty much over top of that little black square. So let me go back over there and show you how it looks right now. And it'll just be a series of adjustments, checking it, making a little more adjustment until you get it set there. Okay, and so you can see that I'm getting closer there, but still not quite there, so I'm going to work on it a little bit more and then we'll start cutting. Okay, so I think I have it pretty close lined up, and I'm going to just go back over and hit the start button on the silhouette, and then we'll start cutting. Okay, and so it's just checking all those marks in the 3 corners to tell it where to cut. And then it's going to start cutting. So I'm going to watch it for a few minutes to make sure that it actually did register correctly. And then I'll be back to show you what the finished product looks like. And there is our finished sheet. It's all ready to go and ready to be lifted off the cutting mat and ready to be used in our scrapbook layouts. So there you go. I hope that this tutorial was helpful to you in learning more about how to use the cut and print function on your silhouette, and also how to use your print and cut files from TNT Scrap Explosion. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. Bye-bye.